Investors, welcome back to Green Money Momentum, where we talk about market movements, making money, and money momentum. I'm your host, Trevor, and we are here today to talk about two different assets that I see having a lot of potential, and I do believe that these assets can 10x from where they are currently at. Today, we are talking about AMD, and we are also talking about Robinhood stock. Now, before anything else, of course, this is not financial advice. I always recommend you do your own due diligence before making any financial decisions. But the reason why I'm covering these two stocks is because these are true growth plays. And when we just talk about value versus growth on the stock market, the main difference between the two is a value stock is still a company that is still proving their worth to Wall Street. Maybe they are operating at a loss. Maybe they haven't had the best quarters when it comes to revenue. Maybe the company is under a lot of debt and still has a lot of improvements to make, where growth is the complete opposite. Typically, growth companies are already at a net positive. They see an accelerating earnings, and because of that, their growth in the stock price is also accelerating, which we do see in both AMD and Robinhood. Now, in the short term, some investors have been frustrated with AMD because it hasn't really been moving as much as the rest of the markets. But we could see that we have been on this upwards bullish trend since April, since right around Inauguration Day. Now, we have fallen slightly under that trend in the short term, but things are still looking very positive for AMD for both the fundamentals and here on the technical analysis, because when we do look at the technical analysis, we have fallen a bit off of that trend. I do believe, however, that we could return right back to that trend, because when we look at the relative strength index, we are right in the middle there, actually a bit lower with a reading at 47, showing that this could be a potential good entry spot for any investors who want to enter into AMD for the first time. And then when we look at the MACD, it does appear that we are having a bullish cross there. And with AMD, the reason why I am so bullish on this company, not only do the technicals align well, and it does look like we could be seeing a bullish cross here very soon and a return right back to this upwards bullish trend, but the underlying company of AMD has a lot of value also. In general, the markets this year are being moved by technology, being moved by all these data center companies, by quantum, and all these groundbreaking, super technological advancements in society. AMD is right up there with the best of them. They provide a lot of services similar to NVIDIA. So they have their amazing chips that they provide at AMD, which go into GPUs, gaming systems, and so much more. And when we look at AMD in comparison to NVIDIA, still a long way for AMD to catch up. So don't get me wrong, NVIDIA is definitely the larger company, but AMD offering a lot of the same products. And with AMD, their market cap currently just at 258 billion. When we look at NVIDIA, they are at 4.20 trillion. So the market cap for NVIDIA is significantly larger than it is for AMD. And if you don't understand the significance of market cap, the lower the market cap, the better it is for potential gains for any investors which are looking for high volatility and higher return, because the smaller the market cap, the less money that needs to be put into that stock to make it move. And what I also like about AMD is their price to earnings is a bit high, like the rest of the market. Basically, the whole market has a high PTE right now, but their price to sales is actually pretty reasonable at just 8.7. When we compare it to NVIDIA, their price to sales is all the way up to 26.3. So the price to sales for AMD is a lot better. And when we're talking about revenue, this company is still earning a ton of revenue. Their last quarter came in at 7.69 billion, and their next quarter is expected to be their largest ever. Same as within NVIDIA. NVIDIA's next quarter is expected to be at 54 billion. So in general, these chips have a lot of intrinsic value. This is a hot time for these companies. And there's definitely a push by the current president that we have for technology and all these data centers. Both of these companies are taking advantage of what we are seeing from the president. And the reason why I like AMD stock, again, it's a lot smaller than NVIDIA, but investors still have their eyes on it. Just like we could see here when we type in AMD, we could see that NVIDIA versus AMD, which artificial AI stock is the smarter buy. So that's just an article right there, but I like that these two are constantly in the same conversation. And when we look at the all-time chart with AMD, we could see that we have seen the most momentum in this stock ever just within the last couple years. And that is, again, because of what we are seeing in society and what the president is pushing, and the mass adoption into technology, into data centers, in both NVIDIA and AMD playing a big part in that future. Their technology is very needed. A lot of true intrinsic value with AMD, and things have been pretty slow lately compared to the rest of the market. Still on a pretty nice big upwards bullish trend, but AMD has frustrated some with how slow it has moved. I do believe that things will start to accelerate in AMD and the rest of the market. And I am personally buying into this play when we are seeing this bullish cross on the MACD and with the upcoming earnings coming within 31 days. And so I want to prepare myself before the next earnings, which should be their positive ever, and before their next round of guidance. You know, with every single earnings report, you usually get some guidance, and this is a lot of the times what could push up a stock. So that is going to be again in 31 days. And so I am expecting big things from AMD. I am not only investing into AMD, but I am also swing trading AMDL, which is the double leveraged opportunity of AMD. I absolutely love these double leveraged opportunities. Every 1% that AMD goes up, AMDL goes up by 2%. And again, when we just compare AMD to the rest of the market, I do believe that AMD is still a bit undervalued in comparison. We're going to go into our next stock, which is Robinhood stock. And Robinhood has been on a crazy acceleration this year when it comes to their stock price and their overall growth. Just like we were talking about AMD being a growth stock, well, Robinhood is the perfect growth stock. Definitely one of the favorites in my portfolio. When we look at Robinhood, they have had extreme growth. Their largest quarter ever coming in Q4 of 2024 at $1 billion quarterly, but their next quarterly is expected to be even larger than that. They're going to have their biggest quarterly ever with Wall Street's expectations at $1.13 billion. This is also going to be in 32 days. So AMD and Robinhood are going to both be announcing their earnings around the same time. And Robinhood stock, I am so excited about, because there is not enough things good I could say about Robinhood stock. We are not only bullish on this company because of their acceleration when it comes to revenue, they also consistently have a positive earnings per share. They also have a lot of cash on their balance sheet. We not only like Robinhood for all those factors, but also everything that Robinhood is doing with innovation. So just like we were talking about AMD and how in general we are going into the society that is more all around the internet, more all around technology, quantum, all these crazy sectors, robotics even. I mean, just when we look at society right now, it's insane where we are already at right now, because for many, many, many years, people have talked about humans living with robots, and some may not even realize it, but we are already living that. We are already living with robots. We have all these chat bots to help us, all these different AI to help us. We have Tesla's robots coming out very soon. Here in Tempe, Arizona, we have food delivery robots. We have self-driving cars. So we are in the next stage of innovation. Just when we look at the last 30 years, you know, You look at the internet, for example, and how that all came around and how that changed lives so much. The internet brought the world together so much more. It's helped when it comes to acceleration in revenue for so many. The internet has made so many people so wealthy. We have had video sharing. We have had people gain tons of fame. We have seen the overall world shift when it comes to the internet. And I do believe that we are basically now going into the next phase of the internet and that type of technology, because the first phase was all around just the internet kind of sprouting and kind of growing. You know, we saw the invention of YouTube, Facebook, Google, all these different social sites. And then we've seen people have businesses and everything like that. But now the next stage that we are going into, I believe, is where the internet is going to be even more important for individuals to make income from the internet. Because just when we talk about what is happening in the economy right now, well, there is no secret that we are seeing every single employment report come out bad. The next employment report, by the way, is going to be this Friday. So have your eyes on that. But with the employment reports, we're constantly seeing jobs be lost. And I believe this is the trend that will continue, because in general, AI is taking a lot of jobs. And then when we talk about the economy, we really are going into an economy where having a job means less and less every single day, because inflation is skyrocketing up. And really, those who are wealthy, or those who at least maintain their wealth, are in a lot of different stocks and assets. And Robinhood, when we talk about that next stage of the internet, which I believe that we are going into, where everybody is going to need to be their own portfolio advisor essentially, or at least be doing investments, because that is just the way inflation is going. Assets continue to rise, but so do liabilities. So you got to position yourself for that. But Robinhood really is an innovator, is a wonderful platform. And this next coming year, they're going to be releasing a bunch of AI tools. They're going to basically have their own Chat GPT or Grok on Robinhood. And with this, you're going to be able to make even better, more educated systems. You're going to be able to use this bot in your favor. So if you wanted to have if you wanted to make certain decisions for you, say, oh, I want to buy this type of stock when it's on a 5% dip, or, oh, let me know if this has gone under the VWAP, or all these complex different things. It's basically like having your own personal robot. And so that is coming to Robinhood this upcoming year. And Robinhood in general is just bringing so much liberty when it comes to the financial sector. Not only did they change the game really with the creation of Robinhood, there is a lot of brokerages out there, but Robinhood, the cleanest to use, and really it has just changed so much. I mean, just when we talk about like what we could do on Robinhood, options, contracts, everything like that, made so simple. These are financial instruments that were at one point really only known by the wealthy. Now any common Joe could have ability to access options contracts or play with double leveraged or margin. So a lot of liberty that Robinhood has given us. It's not only Robinhood that does offer these. There is a lot of other brokerages, but Robinhood, definitely the most popular and definitely the most innovative. They're going to be the first with an AI bot basically on their platform to help you. And also with that, they're bringing Robinhood Social, which is going to be game changing. Webull has that, but I'm sure Robinhood will have a lot more users, doing kind of a checkmate to Webull. I'm sure it's going to be very clean, but we have all of that. And then also Robinhood is really changing the financial markets, because they are bringing a bunch of digitalized tokens out to the European Union. And this is a massive game changer. This is going to make some stocks, at least from my assumption on this, these are going to make these tokens 24/7 for trading. And this is going to bring a lot of liquidity to the markets and to these tokens. And in general, this may be what we are going to see in the future, where all stocks and everything like this are basically on a blockchain. That may be a far way away, but having tokenized assets may be the safest way. Tokenized assets may dominate the future because it does allow the world to get into tokenized assets. I mean, that is what makes Bitcoin so beautiful. You look at other foreign countries, maybe even countries that are having problems with their nation's currency, and Bitcoin is still desired by these nations. I mean, so Robinhood leading this trend, which is going more towards a tokenized culture. Also, when we just talk about Robinhood on technical analysis, we have been in this upwards bullish trend. So we have had this rising level of support and resistance, and then kind of in the middle, we have this dotted line here just to show where we've really been trading at for most of the time in this trend. So in this trend, we've mainly been trading right in the middle, but we have also tapped on this highest level of a rising resistance and on the levels of rising support. And just when we are looking at the chart and just everything that we are seeing right now in the economy, you know, the macros seem to be getting a lot more positive, especially with this larger quantitative easing cycle that we are going into. I do believe that we could see some hyper bullish momentum in Robinhood sometime, especially if the markets do get a nice spark, and we could return right back to this level, which would be a higher level of resistance. Now, right now, again, we are still in this trend. I do expect that we could chop around in this trend for some time longer, but that is still okay because we are in this upwards bullish momentum in Robinhood. I do foresee it continuing, especially with all the innovation that they have added just this last year alone. The growth that we are seeing in terms of their actual revenue, their earnings per share, their customer acquisition also is massive. So they are bringing in so many different customers. And this company right now has a market cap at 108 billion. I do believe that this market cap could be a lot higher, especially as the years go forward, because Robinhood is constantly innovating the game. I mean, nobody would have seen these EU tokens come out. That is absolutely massive. Also, Robinhood Social, the tools that they are bringing to their platform, and in general, the way that society is leaning is more towards technology, robotics, and this new society. And so it is very important to be on top of your finances, to be in great plays and opportunities, because the acceleration is going to continue when we talk about inflation. And I do believe that the acceleration will continue in Robinhood's stock price. You know, great fundamentals always work, even in a bear market where many plays could get chopped very hard. I do expect Robinhood to stay elevated because of the true intrinsic value behind the play. The same to be said for AMD. I think that there is a ton of growth still ahead for AMD. And just when we follow politics and what the president is doing, there is so much focus around AI and all these data centers, and both NVIDIA and AMD taking great advantage of that. I mean, just when we look at NVIDIA, they are the largest company in the world in terms of market cap, 4.3 trillion. That is incredible. So that should just tell you how many investors are loaded up into that chip play. And with AMD, again, we are behind, but still a large market cap at 258 billion. So a lot of investors are looking at this play. Also, AMD still has a lot of growth ahead. I believe NVIDIA still has a lot of growth ahead, and definitely so does Robinhood. But I would be curious to hear what everyone else thinks in the comment section below. Please drop a comment. Please let me know what you think of Robinhood, what you think of AMD, and just what you think of my overall theory about the society that we are going into, which is going to be dominated all around technology, robotics, and finance. It's going to be very important to have your finances down, because we are seeing jobs go down and inflation is definitely outpacing wages. And so right now it is not a good idea to have a job, really, unless you are just using that money to pump into your portfolio, or you are a high enough earner to be okay right now. But in general, a lot of members of society are struggling, and a lot of jobs are not safe. But please let me know what you all think in the comment section below. Please leave a like, and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. I thank you all so much for being here. And also, YouTube is not really recommending channels as much as they used to subscribers. So it is now more important than ever to hit that notifications bell and hit all notifications. So if you enjoy my mainly daily updates on the stock market, hit that bell. Again, subscribe to the channel. I thank you all so much for being here on this weekend, and I will see you in the next video.